So it was started as a conversation in Femi's parlor amongst friends. Has now grown into this company that of recent was recognized by the Financial Times as one of the fastest growing tech companies in Africa. So yeah, Rank is growing, managing portfolios for the top of the top guys, right? And at the same time, they've built like a great financing infrastructure for even the like lower class or small businesses. But in all of this, Rank is struggling to convert this commercial capital, like really convert your story into like an identity. So there's been a lot of struggle. They've gone through like a lot of grants, and they've still not been able to do this. Well, enters Joseph. So yeah, let me wear myself some cape and turn myself to an hero, like a superhero. But yeah, so it started with a call. It started as a call with Femi, and this is the perfect representation of how passionate Femi was on the call. I mean, I was just there like a fine girl that you're toasting, like one IJGB boy is toasting, right? I was just like, another founder is saying the things that he likes to say. But one thing like stood out for me, it is that I saw that Femi valued design. And if you've worked with like a lot of startups, you will know that the best people to design for are actually people that understand design, CEOs that know the value of design. And so for me, that was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And of course, I asked all those questions that creatives usually ask. Are you going to integrate creative freedom? Are you going to provide the funds? And yes. So, yeah, I started. I'm Joseph, creative director for this project. And there's Samuel. Samuel is responsible for everything 3D, motion. Samuel is also one of the reasons why I joined Rank, because I know that talent is hard to find. It's really talent can have total access to, right? So yeah, and then there's Ofon. Ofon is a brand designer on the team. She's not here today. And then there's Tolu. Tolu is also a brand designer on the team. He's here today. So yeah, Moni. So Rank was formerly Moni. But now that Rank is expanding, they are trying to unite all of their service offerings. So you have Rank Capital, you have Rank Microfinance Bank, you have Rank Asset Management, and then you had Moni, right? So it just made more sense to create an app that fits into that ecosystem, like that structure. And then that's why they rebranded Moni into Rank. So like I mentioned, Rank is like divided into various sectors, and that is like providing revenue. So this was what Moni looked like before it transitioned into Rank. But I won't spend so much time on this because as at the time I joined, there was a transition already to Rank, and there was design fatigue in the team. I could tell that for sure. So when I joined the team, I was telling Leke that I'm going to change everything. Leke is like, I was telling Miriam's like the financial officer. I was like, I cannot live with what is currently here. And Miriam was telling me that, are you sure we want to change this logo again? And they had done signage. So because they had like 3 rebrands before that particular one. So me coming and saying we're going to change everything again, they're like, this boy, just use this thing now. Let us launch. I said, nah. And so this was like one of the rebrands before this one. So you see that they had gone through like a lot of struggles and they were on this particular brand. And for me, on the first day, I just knew that this cannot even work. Because I'm listening to Femi's story. I'm hearing him talk about the brand. He's talking about people. He's talking about like shared progress, human connection. And then I have this logo that is looking almost robotic. You assume Rank is probably manufacturing some robotics behind their office or something, right? So everything felt very robotic. It lacked soul to me. I think that's what I would call. I would term that as like it lacked soul. It just looked, it just didn't connect to what I think the core of Rank is. So the problem, like I mentioned, is that particular identity is a total disconnect from rank score. So yeah, what is rank score? Which is where the solution comes in. Like a lot of research that happened, I presented like a 72, like 80-page strategy document to the team, right? And I can't be showing all of that here because I'll just take our time. But in all of this, we had distilled everything to like a simple concept statement, right? Like we all know, a concept statement is like the foundation of every great identity. And the concept statement is that rank is the money hub for communities with a mission to make prosperity common. Highlighting the concept of making prosperity common. And this framework guides or like guided everything that has to do with the work. So if you start breaking down this concept of prosperity, prosperity is for people, and making prosperity common is for people in the multiples. Permit me to use that English, right? So it's like we are making prosperity for you, but if you put the element of commonality into it, it means that this prosperity does not end with you. It like extends to everybody, spreads across board, and that actually forms the concept of, for instance, the logo mark. And the logo mark is very simple. The explanation is very simple. It's one to more to everybody. The company started from just providing capital for a particular business, a small business, and that extended to that woman inviting like other people, other communities, and it started growing. But now Rank is at a point where they're trying to take this concept of prosperity to everybody, especially like the younger like target audience, right? So yeah, it's one to more to everybody. And that's like the simple concept of the logo. The logo mark is a double entendre, like Jordan we always say. That's why I don't want to leave it. It's a double entendre in the sense that as much as it embodies this concept of one to more to everybody, it also has this element of shared progress. So an animation that I was going to play was this animation where the logo keeps rotating, right? And sort of emphasizing the idea that this is for everybody. It's like the concept of shared progress, concept of coming together, concept of us actually coming together to like get wealth or like prosper and everything. And that is the basis for the logo mark. And then of course we needed to pair the logo mark with a typeface. This typeface is cute. But yeah, so we chose Mason New. And the idea for that is just to provide a lot of balance in the way that the elements appeared. So you have a logo mark that is very rounded in form, has this like roundedness to it. So it just makes sense for you to have contrast, right? So you have the typeface with very straight, jacketed edges, and everything just balances each other. And this is not the balance. This, sorry, I'll leave all of that. But yeah, and then you have the logo animation with the word mark. Just very simple. And then we now start defining color. So for color, we're trying to solve for three things: continuity, inserting the concept of people, and also making sure that what we are doing is expressive enough to capture the audience we're trying to like really, really like target. And then yeah, continuity. So Moni had this orange, and we decided that we wanted an iota of that. It's like we don't want to leave everything about what existed before behind, which was one of the things that the rebrand that I met had. It's like everything changed, black. There's no more excitement and everything. So we retained Moni's orange, but then we sort of tweaked the feel of the orange so that it could pair more with other colors. Because if you use this orange, it looks more like red. So this screen is not really rendering it well. It wouldn't pair well with some of the colors that we needed to introduce into the color system. So we tweaked that a little bit and arrived at this particular orange. And so orange as the base, and then we started to introduce warmer colors, or colors that we think are representative of the human experience of people. So you have hues of brown, right? And like I mentioned before, we had to tweak the saturation of the orange because we needed it to pair with these colors that we are adding, the browns, the beige, the peach, but we didn't want it to end at that, right? So this is where the expression comes in. So you have like a wider range of palettes, the greens, the blues, and these other colors. And so we have our color system that we think works. And it took a lot of trial and error. In some places, you probably find like two similar shades of beige and be wondering why do you need to have two of these shades? But trust me, they both have individual agendas that they are agending. So typography. Typography, I would say that it is tied down to this idea of saying what we are saying boldly with confidence. We are saying that if you come on the Moni app, we are going to change your life, in quotes. So it's like we are speaking with confidence, we are bold about what we are saying, we are sure that if you come on rank, if you become a part of the network, there's going to be a change in terms of your status. That sounds like preaching. But there's going to be a change, right? Distinction, expression. So yeah, we landed at Dazed, and like I mentioned, it has this bold outlook. Some of the features can feel quirky, right? For instance, the A looks very, very different. And I really, really wanted distinction because I feel like everybody in the markets, we had like this similar looking idea when it comes to like choosing typefaces. But I wanted something that would work, clarity, but still had a little bit of distinction to it. So you have letter marks like the A, the G, the entire typeface has this like grotesque feel to it. And I was like confident about it. And the crazy thing is that when I presented the first version of the identity, this typeface was the thing that resonated the most with people. I even had like people that were not necessarily like design centric commenting on the typeface. Oh, I like the typeface. It's bold. It's this. It's this. It really feels like how we should be in the market. So for me, it was just like a confidence booster. Even when I was having doubts, I wanted to like go to something very safe and simple. But so yeah, you have Dazed, right? And just an expression that just shows Dazed in use. So iconography, back to the concept of the collective, right? So, the logo mark is different elements coming together, different idea of different people coming together. So I translated that into like an icon system that combines elements together. But the thing is, if I want to combine these elements and I put all the lines together, there's a tendency that you might not get the concept of it coming together. So there has to be like meeting points in the icon system. So you have this point that has like this, this point where the lines meet, and it's very synonymous to how the circles in the logo mark also meet. So you have this iconographic system, and you can see how we've interpreted that into, thank you, interpreted that into like this set of elements. So for illustrations, I would say is more of an abstract attempt to interpret this concept of a flourishing world. If I have money, I want to do the most exciting things. I want to like travel the world, and I would assume that the average person here too wants to live like an exciting life that is full of colors. Even if you don't like color, if you wear black and white every time, you still want to have a life that is flourishing, life that is full of excitement. And I would say that is what we interpreted with our illustrative system. The illustrations are where the party is hard. So you have surreal references to define a flourishing world that's exciting and full of life. So you have this system where we are really, really, really using color, vibrance, and saturation to depict this sense of excitement, like a place that is flourishing. You can see how we've tried to infuse it in all of the illustrations that we've made. So it's like heavy play on colors, heavy play on vibrancy, like I said, an abstract interpretation of a flourishing world. And many times we use this landscapey element as background for the illustrations. I would have gone a bit into how we are thinking about art direction in terms of what this speaks to, but I will not stay too much on that. So then you have this ice cream illustration, which I love so much. Shout out to Samuel for doing the work on the 3D and motion. And yeah, this is just a representation of how we've used it for like different versions of the products, right? So you see, we've defined something, and I think the beauty for me is how we've been able to define it outside of particular frameworks. So there's like an overarching concept of illustration system that feels exciting, flourishing, and all. And yes, we have that. And then you now have frameworks of illustration that are distilled. So these are more compositions and would not necessarily like fit into every context. So you now need to like distill it into simple elements like this that can work for like the mobile app, but still retains that vibrancy and the colors that we really, really, really want it to have. So photography is still a carryover of these excitements. I mean, we're talking about people, we're talking about prosperity, we're talking about connection. So it just makes sense that we snap people. And I mean, it's a jab at someone that said that the work was looking Western. We actually went out to take pictures, we built sets, we took models that will feel African so that you can regard it as African design. But yeah, all right. So shots of people in the best version of themselves, bright, human, expressive, and rich in color. And then you have, this is like when we were building the set. So Dare Ogonaike worked on the set design. I invited my friend Nehemiah for photography. We hired a stylist. We got our models, and I think we really, really like nailed it. Honestly, I was a bit skeptical when we were going to do it because of the money we were asking from them. I was like, Omo, if I collect this money and I don't deliver, this might as well be the end of my contract. But I think we delivered. Even when we finished, Fem was like, I didn't know that you guys were going to be able to achieve what you put in the mood board. And this is one of the image. You can see it's like very exciting. It really, really speaks to what we are trying to like pass across. This you have this too, rich in colors. Yeah, it's just feels exciting. I think it really speaks to the concept of people coming together, community, people like you and me, and you have more pictures. I think we took like close to like 3,000 pictures, and we had to distill it into 60 pictures. We had a shoot from, the first day of the shoot was from like 7 a.m. till 12:30 in the midnight. And we had to do another shoot, that's the next day, and that was like an outdoor shoot. So yeah, you have interesting images, more images, different set designs, really nice pictures. And it is the outdoor image. Shout out to Nehemiah again for really bringing the vision to life. Nehemiah is at the back wearing white and smiling like they are toasting him. But yeah, more of the pictures. And yeah, now to merchandise. And merchandise for us is not just a strategy to feel cool, like people would assume. It's actually like a strategy to really, really reach the people that we are trying to reach. It's an element of distinction for the brand. So merchandise is sort of very core to even the strategy of the brand in general, right? Trying to use it as a tool to reach our core audience, like the younger people. So we had done like this collage of merch, right? And we have presented it, and we're now wondering how we're going to bring it to life. You know Nigeria now, your dreams are not valid when it comes to merchandise. So yeah, we had all of this. So yeah, we now went to the production phase. So we did all the production in China, which is shout out to Rank again for spending money on photography. Sorry, trust me, not small money, spending a lot of money on merchandise. There's still like a set of merch that we're trying to clear from China currently, right? And then yeah, you have all of the material sampling, trying to get the caps right. For instance, this chenille patch like embroidery that is here, it was like overclouding the typography. So we had to like send it back to them and ask them to reduce the, the volume of the patch, right? And you have the keychain, the other caps, the duffel bag. And yeah, you can see some of the images of the merch. Jennifer, you are finally on the screen now. You can see yourself. So don't say I didn't do anything for you. So yeah, and then you have the jersey, the jacket. We're still going to show more of the merchandise in other places. And then we have applications, we come to products. I don't have so many screens because I felt like I'd have preferred that the product team really presented the work. So it was a lot of back and forth trying to make sure that the product really carries an iota of the brand, right? And I mean, it's still work in progress, but shout out to Ebuka that is doing such great work on the product. I personally think that the product will have a session of its own where it breaks down a lot of the work that has gone to it. Also, shout out to Kayode. So Kayode worked with me on the first phase of interpreting the brand into products before Ebuka came in and sort of developed on what we have. And I think you should download the Rank app, actually. There's been new updates. There are some things that are still updating, but you should check it out. And then, yeah, I'm close to the end of the presentation, and I think that we achieved what I actually intended that we achieve. Infusing this idea of making prosperity common into the core of the brand, right? Establishing human connection as the core of the brand into our logo, all the elements, the color system, and how we are just like tying everything together. Another goal that I think that we achieved is like creating an overarching brand idea that can transcend the visual identity. So sounds so complex. But the idea is that I think that we've been able to create like an overarching concept. And that concept of togetherness, that concept of people coming together can flow out of even the designs into, for instance, the naming of this mixer, or like the naming of Rank's official event is called The Collective. And for the collective identity, you have like circles coming together. It's like a strain out of this overarching concept of commonality, making prosperity common. And for me, I think that was a success. And we've been able to create a brand that is truly, truly distinct with the way we've done the photography, the illustrations, and yeah. Another thing that was very, very key to the work was actually building an identity that can fit into culture or something that can build cultural capital. And the idea is because we'll be leveraging a lot of communities, leveraging on art communities, fashion communities, even the design mixer is like an outflow of our brand strategy. So it's very, very necessary that the brand that we have is able to fit into all of these places. If it's to look cool, we are looking cool. If it's to have a brand that is edgy and speaks to people like me, it can also like achieve that. So I'll do two things to close it up. I will scroll through the case study that we're working on and play the final brand reel. So I'll go there to scroll through the case study that is being developed. Shout out to everyone that worked on the project. Samuel, 3D, I always call his name. He killed it. He really, really brought to life all the ideas we had. Shout out to Akin, who is our in-house director of photography, videos. Really, really killed it, extending the brand. Shout out to our head of marketing. The work that Daniel did for us, trying to clear money with finance. Every day they're always fighting. Say this money. I'll just be there doing like, I know they this one. But yes, and also Daniel was very much involved in defining the brand strategy because of course it's very important for marketing. Shout out to Tolu, brand designer on the team, always ready to work. Often Basi in absentia. Shout out to photography team, Nehemiah, the models, our stylists, Dari that worked on the set. I'm not missing anybody. Shout out to our content team. We are doing great work. Such great work. Shout out to Femi for giving us the room to fly and giving us money to do some of the things that we really, really, really wanted to do. So yeah, I'll just scroll through that. Thank you. I'll scroll through the work and also play the final video, and that will be